used to burn it down, but they ain't appreciate the fire. Now I'm back to make them bow at the feet of their Messiah. Through these speakers, how I preach it to the choir. After all these sacrifices, it's the time for me to reach what I desire. The brass ring is the beacon. I've completed what's required. Had to seek to be inspired just to heat up all these liars. Gain knowledge off the lessons of the highest. So is it a Messiah complex or the complex of a Messiah? As time goes by, and eye for an eye. Anything you ever heard of my demise was a lie. Found the drop, motivated and revived, just the rise. I respected as the guy of the vibes I provide. God reborn as the Messiah. I ain't studied for the title, I'm an idol. It's nothing to make your buddy a disciple. And I always had the art to wreck. I'm building masterpieces, head name mark with all this art. I'm like an architect. You feel the soul in my speech like a preacher's verse. And the bull curve stomping beats till my sneakers burst. Home with the preacher's dirt, tried to fade away in peace, but it wasn't sitting right. Now I'm back releasing bird. It's traded. I made my name up in the charter. So if I'm not the king, then I'm aiming for his armor. Head corner, cause it's time I got back where I belong. Been the best at wrestling rapping on these songs all along. I used to burn it down, but they ain't appreciate the fire. Now I'm back to make them bow at the feet of their Messiah. Through these speakers, how I preach it to the choir. After all these sacrifices, it's the time for me to reach what I desire. The brass ring is the beacon. I've completed what's required. Had to seek to be inspired just to heat up all these liars. Gain knowledge off the lessons of the highest. So is it a Messiah complex or the complex of a Messiah? Dream. Illa, gorilla, crescent coast, twisting the blow up in this session. Let me catch the smoke, striving for perfection, not accepting close. So I'm executing like Brett, straight finessing from the second approach. Wrote this whole record with a set approach, modified the method up, adding to the effort after checking notes. Knowing clever boasts, bring the cheddar close. So I transformed into the man, like Becky in a leather coat. Flair flow, second nature, figure eight. I'm a wrestling bar role model with niggas headed, ready headed to the base. Bring the boss in, the horseman, who theories gon' last a lot longer than Austin's. Cause I was on pause, now I'm back for all the portions. Try to put some plaques up on the wall. I ain't rapping for applause, man. I'm just wrecking it superb to finally get the respect that I deserve. I used to burn it down, but they ain't appreciate the fire. Now I'm back to make them bow at the feet of their Messiah. Through these speakers, how I'm preaching to the choir. After all these sacrifices, it's the time for me to reach what I desire. The brass ring is the beacon. I've completed what's required. Had to seek to be inspired just to heat up all these liars. Gain knowledge off the lessons of the highest. So is it a Messiah complex or the complex of a Messiah?
Yeah, man. Surprise. I don't know about none of that other shit, man. I'm just here to make my daughter proud, man. That's it. Crazy. I know what it is.
How you feeling? Feeling alright, man. A little hot, but you know, when you're doing your art, you gotta sacrifice.
What the hell? I was not sure. Welcome to another edition of the William Green Experience right here on YouTube, live on YouTube. And that song that you heard was from Complex of a Messiah. Or Messiah Complex. I'm bugging. Shout out to him. He has a video coming out. My boy Rated R, of course. He has a video coming out on October 30th. It's gonna be lit. I was there for the video shoot. It was the first time I actually seen a music video being performed live. So shout out to my boy Rated R. He's coming out with that video. Actually, he's right here right now. That's that man on your screen right there. That's the one and only Rated R. Video comes out on October 30th, so look out for that video. But now, I'm about to bring on somebody that's gonna Tell like it is. Um, Me and him connecting on Facebook actually. I noticed that he posted things that most people will disagree with, and I'm an open minded person, so I don't just look at one side. There's two sides. Well, there's three sides, I believe. There's one side, well, not your side, my side, and the truth. Even though that is kind of true, depending on who you ask. But for the most part, is whatever you believe, is whatever they believe, and there's some is you have to be in the middle somehow. So I noticed that's what he is. He's in the middle. He just doesn't stay to one side. So without further ado, I'm just gonna bring my guy, songwriter, poet, stand-up comedian. He does a lot of stuff. About to welcome my man Lee Davinci to the show. What's good, bro?
What up, man? What's poppin'?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. First of all, how did
Yeah.
you come up with the name Lee Davinci? That's a lit name.
Cause my middle name is Lee, and
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo da Vinci is kind of like an icon to me for multi-talented people.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like a play on words. My middle name being Lee, and naming myself Lee Da Vinci, because he's basically one of my many role models.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone, the thing that I like about Leonardo da Vinci is that, not only was he multi-talented, but he was incredibly talented in everything that he touched, like to where he changed the world, you know. And that's something that's incredibly inspiring and incredibly extraordinary, when I learned about him when I was a kid. So, I feel like it's good to have role models who have accomplished extraordinary things, for anybody.
Yes. And you said you're from Maryland. What part of Maryland you from?
I'm from PG County, basically like 40 minutes from DC.
Okay. The
Yeah.
DMD. Okay, I got you. I've been to Southern Maryland before, and I've been to Bmore one time too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I go to Baltimore a lot. It's a place that has open mics out there. There's a lot of talented artists out in Baltimore too. Yeah, a lot of talented artists in DC, like all over. Like it's like a renaissance era right now, man.
Yeah, everybody on the ground is trying to get up because it seems like all of mainstream hip hop wants to promote is just garbage.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't hate on them for nothing. I don't hate on them, but I just don't. It's just not me.
yeah,
Like it's weird listening to somebody around my age or older listen to that mumbled garbage. But hey,
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. I try not to hate either, but the only thing that annoys me is that it just seems like all the rappers sound the same. Like they're all copying off of each other.
Yeah, that's the vibes I get from it too.
Yeah.
Um, like you grew up listening to hip hop.
Yeah, of course. Hip hop, uh, gospel, R&B, pop, alternative. I listen to all type of stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I like to hear because I do too.
Yeah,
I didn't really start listening to like other genres until I was like in junior high school.
yeah,
Because on the last show I mentioned a friend of mine I was in class with, he introduced me to Korn, Slipknot, all the rock bands, and I'm like, oh, it's not bad because you can listen to stuff like that when you like working out and stuff, or
right,
when
right.
you're in a bad mood. Like
Yeah,
like sometimes you just want to punch somebody in the face, not shooting. You don't want to shoot nobody. You just want to punch somebody in the face, hit somebody with a guitar, some shit like that. That's what
yeah,
that does to me.
true. Yeah, actually, when I was, see, my father's a preacher, so, you know, a lot of the real hardcore stuff I wasn't allowed to listen to as a child. So, you know, even though I listened to rap growing up. It was basically the rap that was on the radio.
Hmm.
You know, I didn't even know about NWA until like way afterwards, like, you know, or like, other gangster rappers. Like there's a lot of stuff that I missed out on. A lot of movies that I didn't see either,
Mm.
that that I missed out on. Yeah.
Like, did you miss out on other stuff besides like those type of movies? I can imagine being a son of a preacher or whatever can be really challenging as far as having a social life is concerned as a kid.
Yeah, it is. Especially being sheltered like that and not not experiencing the things that all the other kids are experiencing, like going to parties, hanging out, listening to certain types of music that I wasn't allowed to listen to, watching certain types of movies that everybody else was watching. Also, having to go to church like 3 or 4 times a week on a school night, what I'm saying, stuff like that. you know it definitely it uh it made me feel different, amongst my peers, because the things that you experience are going to influence the type of person that you become. you know
That is
and
true.
when everybody around you is having these experiences that you haven't experienced yourself, it's going to make you feel like an outsider. So yeah, that has been a challenge, but it is what it is. I feel like at the same time, I like being different. I like the fact that my perspective on the world is different than the average person. I think I see things in a more innocent way than a lot of other people around me.
Yeah, I understand. I understand exactly what you mean because I used to struggle with that when I was a kid too. Because it's like a lot of people in my neighborhood were into the bad shit, even though they weren't bad people. They were just into like bad shit, like doing like going around causing trouble. I mean, I did some of the shit before. I mean, I've gone nigga knocking. For those of you who don't know what that is, you just go to people's doors and kick them until somebody comes out, and then you run. I used to do
Ring
shit
and
like that.
run.
Yeah, ring and run. Yeah,
Yeah,
I used to do shit
yeah,
like that as a kid. But
yeah,
but it's like they wanted to full fledged go into the shit, and I'm like, back then, if you did any of that shit, especially in the black community, you were either a legend or you just cool as fuck. But I didn't want to do it, so what I did was I left the neighborhood when I was like 12. I started traveling on the subways and buses by myself, and I got to like see things out the neighborhood, and then I'll go back, and people will look at me like this weird kid is like they made me feel left out, but I've learned like actually learned through you to start, to be different, and me doing my therapy sessions too, because I used to struggle. I struggled with that for years, so I could relate to that. I really could relate to that.
yeah, yeah. That's good, man.
Yeah, because I believe a lot of people are stuck trying to like be what other people want them to be,
Yeah,
and I think that's sad.
yeah, yeah. It is sad. It's really a tragedy, but I mean, at the same time, I think we're all like kind of wired to kind of like us conform with people around us for survival reasons. You
Hmm.
know, when
Yeah.
you think about uh, evolution and caveman days, I guess. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I feel like we're probably programmed to want to conform, but it's like this ain't the caveman days anymore. Like
Definitely not.
so we still have that you know that what's the word I'm looking for? That primitive instinct in us to make other people around us conform to our worldview. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's incredible. I mean, at one in some ways, it can actually be beneficial when it comes to dangerous ideas. You know,
Mhm.
as far as I don't know, somebody's going to do something that's going to hurt themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like, wanting to shake that person up to kind of like, get with the rest of us, you know what I'm saying, to
Mhm.
to protect someone. But then it becomes, the other side of it is trying to control someone for your own self-interest.
Mm. There's a lot of people like that out here today. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And they disguise it well too.
Yeah.
It's like they make themselves seem like they want to help you, but they really don't. It's like they'll try to sell you on, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm not like that. When you never accuse them of doing that. So once you do that, that's a red flag. Because I know a lot of people who call themselves trying to help me or trying to call themselves helping somebody else. And they'll plead with that person, oh, I'm not gonna do that to you, and they end up doing it.
Yeah.
Has any like have you experienced that from anybody?
With people who act like they're my friends, but
Yeah.
they
Because I know
oh
I have.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, most recently, man, just all of the Trump supporters who used to be on my Facebook page, who used to support me when I supported Trump, and
Okay.
used to had a whole bunch of positive things to say, about me and how smart I am and how awesome I am. And then when I started to disagree with Trump and break away, I saw, the total switch, and all of those people who once told me that I was an awesome person, now they had a whole long list of insults for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like start to realize that all of that time that those people were giving you a whole bunch of compliments, it wasn't genuine. You know what I mean? They weren't praising you, they were just praising the person that's confirming what they believe. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's so stupid. Like that's dumb. Like so you stop supporting that person for whatever reasons you deem to be whatever that reason is. We can go over that in a few minutes. But and then they stop supporting you because you no longer support that person. So all this like you said, all this time they only supported you because they supported their savior. That's why I tell
Exactly.
people. I'll say that the same thing about the people who support Biden, their savior. That's their savior. So the minute you go against them, well, the minute you go against him, they're gonna go against you.
Yeah.
But as far as you being a Trump supporter, I I guess because I mean I feel this is like kind of a loaded question somehow because it's like why should I ask person why they support them? But you as a black man, why did you support Trump?
I think it was a lot of reasons. Well, number one is because I mean, I remember before he became the bad guy, I respected him as a successful businessman. So and plus I had bought his audio book, The Art of the Deal.
Hmm.
And I looked up to him as far as, someone who was a tough businessman and an extremely successful person,
Hmm.
and so I'd always kind of like had a respect for him. And then, but then once he started like doing the birther movement and stuff, and like once he started like running for president, and like, he was doing the Muslim ban and all that other stuff, like I kind of like changed the way I looked at him, because all I was doing was I would get all of the news about Trump from CNN.
Mm.
So naturally, if I disliked him, I didn't hate him, but I was like, what type of person is he? you know and then after he won, it was like one of the most shocking things I ever saw in my life, the day that he won the election.
Yeah.
And it was, honestly, it was disturbing. Um, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I became obsessed with the fact that he won, and I became obsessed with the shock of it,
Okay.
with it as basically as a historical event. And being obsessed with him, I just started to study him. I just went on YouTube and watched all of his interviews, all of his biographies, and I just basically became obsessed with Trump and trying to learn and understand him, and what type of person he is. Because like, one thing about me, I I developed an obsession earlier on of successful people and anyone who's ever changed the world, because there are a lot of things that I've suffered from in the world and in society that I wish I could change. So because of that, I study a lot of people who changed the world and try to understand how can I learn from those people. So I study Trump, trying to understand how he pulled this off and how can I learn from him. And during the process of me studying him, I started to admire him and I started to really like him as an underdog and as an outsider who beat the odds and won.
Hmm.
And so, you know, now first, like it took a while for me to publicly say that I was a Trump supporter. It was like a process because, you're afraid of being attacked, being abandoned, being disrespected and insulted, especially on Facebook because, everybody that I knew in my life was connected to my Facebook page.
Hmm.
So if I say that I support Trump, everybody that I know is going to see that. So
Right.
it took a while for me to get there. And also you know, another aspect of why I supported Trump, um, a lot of people don't like it, but I was really suffering from a lot of mental illness at the time. Just, you know, a lot of resentment that I carried around, a lot of hatred for Black people, from feeling rejected by the Black community, from the abuse, the bullying, the ridicule, the traumatic experiences, the heartbreaks. I mean, I've really been treated, horrible by my own race, in my life. And, it developed into a mental illness. And I really hated Black people at that time. And the fact that Trump was known as someone who didn't like Black people made me like him even more. And at the time I was mentally ill, and you know, I I like the idea of an underdog who didn't like the same kind of Black. Now this is the thing. It's not like I hated all Black people. It
Of
was
course not.
really certain types of Black people that
I
I
know,
hated.
and I bet you I know what those types are. Probably ratchet
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, basically the ratchet ones, but not necessarily all the ratchet ones, because there are a lot of people who I considered ratchet that
Yeah,
I
of course.
also considered friends. But
Yeah.
it was just certain attitudes in Black culture, certain
Mhm.
ways of thinking
Yeah.
that I didn't like because, it affected me in a negative way. And Trump began to represent, in my mind, a warrior against those people because, you know, I mean, I think a lot of Black people have went over to his side because of Black Lives Matter, and because of the way that the movement has alienated a lot of Black people who don't fit this
Yeah.
a lot of Black people who don't fit the stereotype of what the typical Black person is expected to be. I do think that there are a lot of positive things that uh, Black Lives Matter has done for the Black community. And there are a lot of trends, a lot of subcultures that Black Lives Matter has started that,
Mhm.
it has uplifted the Black community. But I also think that it's a gift and a curse because there are a lot of toxic attitudes, a lot of destructive elements of the movement that has negatively affected us. And I think, that's a big part of the reason why there's such a rise in Black conservatives right now and Black Trump supporters. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And yeah, that's kind of like a long story, but yeah, that's in a nutshell why I supported Trump.
And I'm just gonna let you know, it's nothing wrong with you supporting them because everybody has their reasons. Like that's the thing. I feel like those people, that the type of Black people that you're talking about, are the ones that don't really want to listen to any reason. Like if you want to have a discussion with them, and I see that you try to, but it seems like they don't want to have a discussion because they're acting off of their emotions. Because you like being that you supported Trump. I really didn't know much about him other than him being a businessman. Because I grew up hearing his name since I was born. I was born in the late 80s. So all my life, I've heard his name mentioned in a lot of songs, rap songs. A lot of things on TV I've seen with his name on it. He has buildings here in New York City with his name on it. So that's how I know Trump.
Yeah.
So, I thought of him like the thing I actually like about him is the fact that he's authentic. He's himself. That's what I love about him. And
Yeah.
the stuff that you posted on Facebook, I went and did the research on all of it, and all of it is true. It's the stuff that the media don't cover because they're worried about how he is as a person. Like, I don't really care how you are as a person. Like, if you have policies and stuff that's going to change the world, then I fucks with that.
Yeah.
I think people, it's like if you ask them what racist things he's done, as like has he done, they won't give you any answers. They'll just point out something that that they heard on CNN or MSNBC. They can be like, "Well, at least said that." Um, like I was watching that movie 13th on Netflix, and let me see. They took a soundbite from when he was talking about I forgot what he was talking about, but he equated that to they put that soundbite on a video of I guess some cops beating up some black people, an old video that came out in like 65 or some shit like that. And I'm like, he was talking about something else. He didn't say that the police should go around beating people to death and shit. He didn't say that. Come on.
What are you talking about?
Have you ever seen that movie 13 on Netflix?
13th Amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm explaining it wrong because I haven't seen that in so long. Because I've seen, let me see, the last time I seen it was when I was in school back in March, and I've seen it one time before, so I forgot exactly what he said verbatim. But there was a video of them showing police beating on some guy, and they basically made it seem like he was talking about that when he was talking about something else. So that's what I'm saying. I'm basically saying that's how the media be covering people. They'll make them look like to be the bad guy when they really not. Even though he's done some things that I don't agree with, but at least if you're going to cover somebody, at least be honest about it.
Yeah, that's true. But the media the news has become propaganda channels right now. So I just come to accept that. So I just now I just kind of like I know what I'm getting when I watch certain news channels, and if I want to see you born in the 60s, if I want to see if I want to hear the news from a certain perspective, I know where to go, at least I'm not being fooled, at least I know what I'm getting,
Right. And all this aside, we can get back to the whole the whole political thing a little bit later. Like you do like us. I noticed you do poetry. You do stand up. Like when did you first started getting into like hip hop, wanting to be like an artist and also doing poetry and all the other stuff that you do? When did you start doing all this stuff?
Well, I'm not a stand-up comic. I don't think I'm a stand-up comic, but I know that I've posted poems that are really controversial and probably made everybody in the room laugh, but I'm not really a stand-up comic. But the thing is, I started playing the drums at 13, and at the same time I started writing raps around 13. But eventually when I started to learn how to play the drums, I was playing in church. So like I became really like kind of preoccupied with drums so much that I kind of like stopped writing rhymes for a while. And then, once I got to high school, I joined the gospel choir. That's why I learned how to play the piano and how to play like gospel songs. Then I was like the keyboard player for the gospel choir for like a couple years. And then after I graduated, that's when I started like really getting into like Tupac's music. And like I was like a obsessed Tupac fan. And it was mainly because I was going through like heavy depression and really a lot of like mental illness at that time. And, Tupac talked a lot about mental illness in his songs. He talked a lot about suicidal thoughts, talked about a lot of depressing things, and I became really attached to his music. And the thing about it is, music really has the power to save people, you know. And once I realized how powerful music was through listening to Tupac, it was like I realized that I know how to rap too, and I can do the same thing for other people. And then that's when I started to really like take myself seriously as an artist. It was really out of the desire to write something for someone else out there who's going through the same thing that I'm going through. And, to find a way to say something that either can encourage them or, just reach out to them and tell that person that they're not alone,
Hmm.
or really to change the way that people look at people like us. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but then like when I started getting to the open mic thing, I
Hmm.
would go to certain open mics where, I came prepared to do a rap song or an R&B song, and they'd be like, we don't have any speakers here, or we don't have a DJ, or we don't have a way for you to play your music. So I would just, one night I was like improvising, and I just started doing my songs in a spoken word form, you know. And then after that, I would just basically go to poetry open mics and do my songs in spoken word form. And then once I started seeing, like, realizing that songs are poetry too, that's kind of like opening me up to writing actual poems. Then I started, writing poems, and then it just became another way for me to express myself. So
Copy.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's just about being open minded. But yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yeah, like before all that, like I heard you mention several times that you waited tables or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was that experience because I noticed that those waitress and waiters, they don't get no respect from people. It's like they'll go there, they'll pay them like $1 tip, or they don't give them anything. And I mean, when I was young, I used to do that. That was before I didn't have any understanding of how that worked until somebody broke it down to me, and I'm like, wow, they don't get paid a wage. So I'm like, okay, when I go out, I'm gonna tip them at least $20 or up. Depends if I have it. If I don't have it, I'm not gonna go out. Like, how was that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not all bad, you do have the potential to make a lot of money,
Yeah,
you know,
of
but
course.
at the same time, it's not an easy job. It's physically demanding, it's mentally demanding, and it can be traumatic because you're dealing with the general public face to face,
Hmm.
and you know people are mean. There are some really horrible people out there. And a lot of these people, when they go out, you would think that someone goes out to have a nice time and to, enjoy themselves. But a lot of these people come out and they just treat you like shit. It's almost like they're taking out all of their trauma on you, you know? And so it's like, because I've seen a lot of people, come back from the floor with tears in their eyes,
Ooh.
basically, or go in the bathroom and just totally crying from the way that somebody treated them. It can be a tough job, but it can also be a really rewarding job because, especially with people who are celebrating their birthdays, or people are out there with their families, and you're basically out there, helping them, put together or coordinate, something that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? And you know, there is a rewarding part of it. But it's like most things in life, there's a good side and a bad side to it, But for me personally, I was a waiter for 8 years, and I had a lot of experiences. I grew a lot, but at the same time, I developed a lot of mental illness. I went through a lot of traumatic horrible experiences that, you know, shaped the world. I mean, shaped the way I see the world, shaped the way I see people. You know, after you went, I really think that either everyone should experience what it's like to wait tables, or that they should teach a class on how to, you know, restaurant etiquette. You know, like somewhere in school they ought to teach restaurant etiquette, how to tip. You know, because there are a lot of people out there just really ignorant to. And I was, even me, like before I got in the restaurant industry, before I started working, I didn't know shit about the restaurant industry. You know what I mean? And it was a lot of things that I was ignorant to. So I know it's a lot of people out there that, you know, they act horrible in the restaurant because they don't know. You know, they're not aware of the culture. They're not aware of restaurant etiquette, you
Mhm.
know. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't want it to come off like it's totally horrible, you know, but it can be horrible. You know, it's not you know, it's not all bad, but it's not all good either.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. It's like you got your good days and you got your bad days. Like
Yeah,
but I used to work retail, so I know exactly how that is, and I had to deal
yeah,
with people all the time. In fact, the the management is what I hated the most about retail, not really the customers, because I've met some awesome people. I actually met more awesome people than I did the horrible people that I worked there, because the horrible people, you just have to you bump into them one time, usually for like 2 or 3 seconds, depending on where you see them at. You at the register, you'll probably have to speak to them for like 5 minutes, depending on how much stuff they bought and stuff like that. But other than that, you don't really have to deal with them like that. You see your bosses, you have to deal with them because you have to see them after that customer leaves.
right,
So
yeah,
it's like I had one customer that wanted me to do to do a price check for him, and I told him how to do it. Price check is right there, and I couldn't check the price because his item didn't have a price tag. So I told him to go over there to one of the cashiers so they could do it up there, because they have to type in the SKU number on the ticket, not the ticket, on the tag. He gonna be like, "Oh, if you want to do your job," I'm like, I never said that I didn't want to do my job, bro. I had to walk away from him because I was about to cuss him out. But yeah, you get stuff like that. So yeah, I understand. But it's like
yeah. Well, you know, a lot of them, they know that you're on the clock and you're, you know, on your job, so they feel like, you know, they feel safe talking to you any kind of way, you know.
mhm. It's always a reason why people do the stuff that they do. Like this
Yeah,
one customer wanted me, he wanted me to go from the cash register back to the back to get him some jeans. I'm like, I can't do that. He had his kid with him. He was calling me all types of names and shit. And I'm like, bro, if I was a different type of dude, I would have walked. I would have came from around this counter. I would have beat your ass right in front of your kid. But I'm not like I'm not a violent person. I swear. But people will get you there. It's crazy.
yeah,
People will
yeah.
get you there. Like, did you ever experience where somebody almost took you there?
Um, yeah, but it wasn't customers. It was the people that I worked with.
Oh God, it's
That,
always them. It's
yeah,
always,
yeah. Because I mean, the thing about the restaurant industry is that, you know, that's one of the one industries where you can make a lot of money, and there's no background checks. They don't check your criminal history. So
Mhm.
it's all types of people with, you know, criminal records and stuff like that you got to work with, and all types of, you know, personality disorders and defects that you got to work with. And some people, you know, you know, it was this one person that was just a bully. But, you know, I feel like the restaurant industry attracts a lot of bullies,
Mhm.
um, and violent people, because there's a lack of, you know, background checks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was this one dude who actually he did 8 years for killing somebody. He actually killed somebody with his bare hands.
Wow.
And but the dude didn't die until after he was already sentenced. So we were literally working with a murderer, and the dude was scary. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a bully, and he had a lot of people intimidated. You know, whenever it was a disagreement, a lot of people would just do whatever he said just to go along. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I kind of reacted different because I didn't like the way that he bullied everyone around us, and so
What the hell
you
did he even
know,
do to them?
huh?
What the hell did he do to them? Like, what did he do?
What did he do?
Yeah. Like, what?
Well, well, okay. He was a host, right?
Okay.
So the host. Their job is when you come in the restaurant, they say hello to
The
you,
hostess, yeah.
and
The hostess, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So but he gets paid a certain wage. The servers, we don't get paid any wage. We make all our money from tips.
Okay.
But sometimes he would sneak and try to serve the customers and get a tip from the customers that we're supposed to serve. You know what I'm saying? And we all knew that he was not supposed to be doing this. But a lot of people were afraid to say anything to him because I mean, the dude was a scary dude. So literally, like, servers would actually help him serve other customers and make money off the table that was supposed to go to the servers. So he would literally get paid twice. He would get an hourly wage and make tips off to the tables that were supposed to go to us. And one day I just got tired of that shit, and I said something to him. We ended up getting into it. You know what I'm saying? And a whole bunch of people had to break up the situation, and that shit didn't end there. It was like a feud between me and him, and a lot of people were like, a lot of servers like when he would walk out the room would be like, "Yo, you okay? I see what's going on." You know what I'm saying? But when he would walk into the room, they would kind of like act like they was on his side. You know.
Mm-mm.
Also, I almost got into a fight with my manager because
Mm.
I had a really abusive manager. He was just, like, verbally abusive. He played a lot of mind games. He was almost would talk to you like you were his child, like one of those type of dudes. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, everybody hated him. Everybody hated working with this dude. A lot of people had reported him to the district manager just because of the way he was talking to people, but the management didn't seem to care. And one day he had sent me home because of some type of argument that we got into, and it made me so mad that I was so, like, I literally lunged toward him like I was going to hit him in the face. And midway, I realized what I was going to do, and I stopped myself. I turned around, I walked out the door, and I never been back to that restaurant ever again.
Don't blame you. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, thing is, like you said, the management don't give a damn. As long as that dude is producing the numbers that's needed for that restaurant to stay where it's at, then they're not going to do nothing.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. And that's
They-
that's crazy to me. Like, that shit, it was totally crazy. And it just let me know, like, what they actually think of you, like the restaurant itself, how they look at us as servers. Like, we're literally we're just bodies. Like, we're I mean, almost like slaves. I mean, of course, it's not like chattel slavery. Like, we're not owned. We can walk away, but at the same time, they do play a lot of mind games to make you feel like they own you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like, you got many people on the right wing. They'll say some shit like that, like, "Oh, if you're not a slave, because if you were a slave, you wouldn't be able to." No, think about it. Think about the comparison. You go there, you want okay. Many people go to these replete like in retail. Many people go to retail spots or restaurants or whatever, they want to move up because when you come in, they create this idea that you can grow in the company. 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. It's not the case because they don't like you. If they don't like you, you're not moving up. You could work as hard as you want. Like a friend of
Yeah.
mine told me, "Oh, retail could be a lucrative job for who? For managers, sure. For associates, no.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
the thing is, the only reason he even stayed because they gave him an offer. So it's really not because of your hard work. I mean, that's a part of it. They see it. They see enough of it. But at the end of the day, they liked you, so they promoted you, and they made your on your paycheck a little bit fatter.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. A lot of his popularity contest.
Yep. That's why
Yeah.
I'm glad I never wanted to work in a restaurant because of the type of personality I have. I'll get intimidated just approaching people because I really don't like to approach people like that.
Yeah.
I'm very timid, believe it or not. I hell, I barely try to approach people I personally know to even come for them to come on the show because I'm like so timid. But it's
Yeah.
something I got to grow out of. But yeah, like I don't like to approach people, so that's why I never took a job as like a waiter or working food service because I know how my personality is. I'm not gonna excel.
Yeah.
Retail,
Well,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
used to be the same way actually. I'm an introverted person, but I kind of like I learned how to do it. With me, I basically have after a while, after you jump out there and you serve a certain amount of tables, you understand the whole experience, and it's kind of like you develop like a script. You know what I mean? It's like a routine, you know what I'm saying? And you even think of certain like something to say in every situation after a while. And it's like after a while it's not even it's not even about approaching somebody and starting a conversation because you already know what you're going to say. You already know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It just becomes like a job or a routine after a while. But at the same time, it's like my personality was like kind of like counted against me. For people who are like introverted, in the service industry or like anything where like your job is to get along with people, like introverted people have a hard time, you know uh being respected in those type of industries, you know what I'm saying? Because you know a lot of people in society, they think that certain personalities are superior to others, you know what I mean? And I feel like every personality is special. But when you're a waiter, they expect you to be a super happy, super bubbly, super talkative person. And if you're not, then they automatically think of you as a bad server. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one thing that has been challenging is getting over people's prejudice attitudes, against people who don't have like bubbly personalities, and how they assume that you can't be good at your job unless you're like have a Kevin Hart personality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly speaking, at like me reading people, I could see right through all that stuff. I can see when a person just trying their best or just being fake about it too. So like as long as you're coming up to me and you're doing your best and you're being yourself, then I don't have a problem tipping you. But it's just certain people, they just let themselves be known that they're what they're doing is a facade. Like the ones that's constantly coming over to your table every 5 seconds. Oh, like, are you enjoying your food? Are you enjoying your food? No, that's annoying. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing in retail. It's like I actually agree with you because I did have I was asked to hand out mesh bags to people on the sales floor. So I had to approach people. Some of them are talkative. Some people will stop and talk to me, some people won't. The ones that will just look at me and be like, I'll be like, okay. I walk right away from them. Then they try to ask me for my help again. I'll be petty with them because you like I went up to you the first time. Or what I like to say is if they came up to me and asked me a question, I'm like, well, I did try to ask you for your help earlier. You told me no in an off-putting way, and then that person ends up apologizing because I called them out with BS. So yeah, I'm like yeah, and it's also a challenge for me too as an introvert because even with coworkers, they'll look at you, they'll look at you, and they'll just assume that you don't have no friends, that you have no social life, that all you do is just stay in the house and just look at the walls all day. So yeah, like I understand exactly what you mean by that because they assume that you have to be the person that talks a lot. That means you're doing something, but that's not always the case. Some people are
Yeah,
just talkative in certain situations. Like
right.
like that's what I believe.
Yeah, because like um, I could talk. I have a lot of things to say, but I'm not really good at small talk, chit chat. You know,
I
I
get it.
like to talk about deep subjects. So you know, it's not that I never talk. It's just that I'm selective about the things that I talk about. Also
Right,
selective about the people that I talk to.
right.
Like if I feel like you're not going to relate to me, or if I feel like you're going to judge me as a weirdo, I'm just not even going to try to talk to you. You
Yo, I
know?
get called the weirdo a lot.
Yeah.
Like my boy VJ who I had on the show of like last Friday, me and him worked together. He told me the stuff that upset about me. I was like, wow, these people had every opportunity to say it to me, but they never do. I don't know why
Nah,
that is.
they're not going to say it to you because they don't want to have a conversation with you. You
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying?
It's
And
crazy.
plus, it's probably more fun that you don't know what's being said
Mm,
about you.
You're right. That's exactly what it is. They like it's all fun to them. It's like they get their rocks off because maybe that's the most excitement they'll ever have in their life. That's how I look at it. Like, before, I used to feel bad about it. I used to like, yo, what is wrong with me? Then like, 2020, even though it was a bad year for most people, I'll say it's a good year for me as or from this standpoint. I got to find myself. I got to realize that I can't live my life for other people. I gotta live my life for myself. Screw the other people.
Right.
They don't know you anyway. They don't want to get to know you because they're going by social norms that they believe that is normal. So if you're not into the same stuff, even though they don't really care to even ask you about it, they'll just look at you and be like, "Oh, this person's a weirdo," or they just don't have anything to say. Oh, this person stutters a lot. Like like no, I started because I'm nervous. Because I'm nervous, and also I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say next without sounding like a foolish idiot. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I am too. I've been like that my whole life.
Yeah.
Well, as I got older, I learned to talk to other people that relate. That's why the show. Like other people will relate to what me and you are speaking about. Because there's people out there, but they don't want to put themselves out there. I can understand why. Because
Yeah.
we're just dicks. Like
Right. Yeah.
like come on. But like like transitioning back to like political beliefs and stuff like that and worldview. Like when you told everybody your worldview as far as your side, like were you surprised about the backlash you got, or you just saw it coming?
Um, I think both is true. I think I saw it coming, but it was still surprising when it actually happened,
Hmm.
because it's like, I mean, you can see something coming, but it won't actually, it won't, you can see something coming, and then when it happens, it can still surpass your expectations of what's going to happen,
Hmm.
and it's very eye opening, you know what I mean, to see, uh, how a lot of people flipped on me. Both, when I became a Trump supporter and when I stopped being a Trump supporter. Both, journeys was very eye opening and taught me a lot about people.
Right.
Not a lot of, I didn't learn a lot of good things, but taught me a lot about, you know, how people will flip on you, you know.
You're
And
right.
it really kind of like, honestly, it's really kind of got me considering just kind of like keeping a lot of my political opinions to myself, because you know I've lost a lot of friends. I even have family members that will probably never speak to me again. You know what I mean? Um, I've had the police called on me. I've had the FBI come to my house.
The
You
fuck?
know, um,
Wait, why? The
um, well, I think it was a combination of not. I think it was a combination of a lot of the things that I was talking about. Because when I first became a Trump supporter, I also had an obsession with the Columbine shooters,
okay.
and I really sympathize with them because you know these guys were doing what they did because of the bullying that they went through. And not just them, but a lot of mass shooters out there, either have a history of mental illness, or they have a history of some type of trauma, some type of abuse that they went through, and they kind of reacted in a mass shooting. And during the time I was going through a lot of workplace bullying, and I was working at a restaurant. I was dealing with a lot of abuse from customers, a lot of abuse from managers, and some bullying from my coworkers. And I could relate to wanting to carry out a mass shooting. And so I actually wrote a song about about carrying out a mass shooting at my job. And it wasn't that I actually wanted to do it, but I wanted to paint a picture of what I was going through. And for me, the message that I wanted was to make it sound as real as possible and to communicate the tragedy of someone who is going through so much abuse at their job that they want to kill people. Like, to me, that's a serious tragedy, to work at a place that'll make you feel like that, you know? And it wasn't just something that I thought of out of my imagination. This really happens. Like, there are people out there that work at places that are so hostile that they they go from being a person that wants to do good at their job to wanting to kill everybody at their job. And literally, like, in the same city that I live in, there was literally a bartender that flipped out and killed 3 managers at his restaurant. You know what I'm saying? While I was writing that song. So it was like, when that happened, it was like confirmation that I'm writing about a real situation,
Mm,
But I mean, of course, when you say stuff like that, it's going to be people that don't care, about what you're trying to say. They don't care about the message. All they care about is, you know, their fear that you might be the next mass shooter. So, that, combined with how much I hated black people at the time, combined with me being a Trump supporter, it really scared a lot of people. So, even though all I was saying was words, all I was saying was opinions, you know, um, somebody got scared and they called the police, and, FBI came to my front door, on 2 different occasions, you
wow.
know, and, at the end of that, it just made me really consider, like, the messages that I was putting out there, because even though I had strong convictions in what I was saying, it's like, if people reaction is fear and calling in the police, then I had to reconsider, how I was presenting my image. If is, even though I feel justified in what I was saying, if your message is not getting through, and if your message is making people hate you, then at some point you got to reconsider, maybe there's a different way that I can say this. Maybe there's a different way that I can present this to people. So, I did go through a change in the way that I presented things. And I did actually, I had to create a whole nother Instagram page that was more positive, more uplifting, because like, I mean, at the end of my life, I really want to feel like, when it's time for me to die, I want to feel like I contribute something positive to this world, that I did some good. I don't want to die, realizing that I, you know, did nothing but sow hate and anger and fear into this world. I want to feel like I did my part to make this world a better place. So, you know, all of the stuff that all of the enemies that I gained just kind of like made me reconsider. And plus all of the friends that I lost, all of the family members that'll never speak to me again, it's just like it's got me really considering, like, is it really a good idea to broadcast all of your offensive opinions to an audience that is going to be offended, that is going to stop listening to you? You know what I'm saying?
Well, well, I'm gonna go back to one thing that you about the Columbine shooters. I relate to them too, honestly, because when you said that, it really hit me. Because when I was about 7, 8 years old, I got picked on a lot because I'm a short dude. When I like so I'm 5'3", so you can only imagine how short I was as a 7 and 8 year old. I couldn't defend myself for shit. I used to cry a lot because I couldn't get them back with words because they had the whole class on their side. It's like going in a rap battle and the whole crowd is against you. No matter what you say, nobody's gonna listen. Nobody's gonna react. They're gonna laugh at you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so there was times where I wanted to get a gun and just shoot the shit up, shoot the school up. Well, not the school, but the classmates that tormented me. I
yeah,
really felt like getting a gun and shooting them up. The only reason I didn't get a gun is because I couldn't get my hands on one because I was too young.
yeah,
So when people say, "Oh, maybe maybe if the girls would give them some coochie, maybe they wouldn't shoot up schools." No, that's bullshit. It has nothing to do with girls. It has everything to do with being fucked with. If you fuck with somebody so much, they're gonna get mad. They're gonna like you see those kids in Columbine. I guess the gun laws is different over there. They got some guns and they did exactly what they said they was gonna do. But
yeah,
like I can relate to that. I really can, cause oh my, yeah, it's like when people say that. Oh, maybe like the problem is they didn't get laid like that. There's plenty of the bullies in school that get laid and their life is shit when they get home. Why you think they
yeah, that's
on
true.
dicks? They can't defend
But
themselves.
the other side of it is, I did see a study that said that uh, a huge number of mass shooters are virgins. So,
Hmm.
but that's why I think we should legalize prostitution. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if sex work, if it wasn't so much shame attached to paying for sex, a lot of, not just the guys who commit mass shootings,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really hard on a man. Like, it hurts to be a man who can't find a sexual partner. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there are a lot of guys out there who can't find a sexual partner, but at the same time, they're too proud to pay for sex because of how shameful it is and the stigma that's attached to it. And I just be thinking, like, what if prostitution was legal and it wasn't considered a shameful thing, and it was like, a normal thing for a man to pay for to have sex with a beautiful woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I feel like it would, not only would it decrease the number of mass shooters, but it also would decrease the number of broken hearts. Uh, if you could, like, literally, if you could uh, respectfully say to a woman, I think you're attractive, and I'd love to, spend a night with you, and you know, uh, I'll pay for whatever you want. I'll give you as much money, whatever price you give me, and then two consenting adults agree with that, and we can walk away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the dating game would be a lot more better. You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't be as many guys who can't find, sexual partners or suffer from that sexual frustration or that sense of rejection.
Right.
Because, like, even if you don't shoot up a school or shoot up your workplace, like, the pain from having or not being able to find a sexual partner can make you suicidal, like, or it can, create certain forms of mental illness. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, not only that, but a lot of guys out there feel like they have to lie in order to get
Oh,
a
God.
woman.
Mhm.
They feel like they got to pretend to like a woman more than they do, or pretend to be in love or want to be in a relationship with a woman just to get her to have sex. And then as soon as they have sex with her, they're gone. You got to think about the effect that has on a woman too. Like, there are a lot of broken-hearted, bitter women out here, and it's a lot of them. Like, it's almost seems like it's all of them who have dealt with a lot of guys
Fuck
who
boy.
lied to them just so they can have sex,
Mhm.
and then they left afterwards. But think about it: if paying for sex wasn't so shameful, if it wasn't so shameful to have sex for money, you know what I mean? Like, how would change the whole dynamic of a man who doesn't have to lie and act like he doesn't want sex, and you could just say, "Yo, I like you, and I would like to spend a night with you, and I'll give you $100 to make love to you, for one night or whatever." What if that was considered normal? Would it be so many broken? I don't think it would be so many broken-hearted females. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy thing is, I actually did a show on prostitution and whether or not it should be legal. You actually put a different perspective on it because I actually agree it should be legal. Because honestly speaking, if you're a woman and you want to use your looks, they do it now. They use their looks to go on Pornhub. So why couldn't they do it to sell themselves? I see nothing wrong with it. Do you?
Yeah.
In fact, they
I
should
mean,
they should regulate it. They want to tax you. They want to get tax off it. Let them get tax off it.
yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like we're moving towards that anyway with the whole OnlyFans
Yeah,
shit. I mean, the next step is sex for money. And we're already there, because like there are so many websites out there where a regular girl can just sell sex as a service. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot, and this when I started really going on Backpage and really like seeing like all of the girls out there, like, this shit will blow your mind. It's like an underworld. Like, it could be your next door neighbor that's out there putting herself on a website, selling sex, and you know what I'm saying, you'll never know. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't understand why it is so shameful for a man to pay for sex, especially with the quality of women that are out there selling sex as a service. Like, literally, like, you can have sex with a woman who looks like a video model for like $150 or $200. You know what I'm saying? And she's beautiful. You know what I mean? And I don't understand, like, why is that shameful? But if you go to the strip club and throw $150 in the air just for her to get naked, and you didn't have sex with her, you couldn't even touch her, and you just threw $200, $300, hundreds of dollars at her just for her to take off her clothes, and you're the man. Like,
I
this shit
never
makes
thought
no
of
sense.
I never thought of it like that. Oh man, that is true. The logic, yeah, the logic in that doesn't make any sense because
Yeah.
you shouldn't shave that man for actually paying to actually go through with fucking this person, as
Exactly.
opposed of you giving this person a bunch of ones and you asking, "Oh, can we?" Because a lot of these guys, a lot of these, like, I call them thirsties. I call them thirsties. Like the ones that go to strip club, they'll throw a bunch of their money at them to try to sweet talk them into fucking.
Yeah,
When if you're paying for a prostitute, you wouldn't have to sweet talk them. You just get in
exactly.
there. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You go home. Go home to your wife. You
Exactly.
go home to where you was gonna go.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah, the logic in that makes
No sense.
no sense at all. You
It's
just nailed it.
ridiculous.
I never thought of it like that. It's like, I guess to answer your question, if I have to if I have to give an answer to your question, I guess what these people are bragging on is, I guess they feel that they're too prideful to pay for it because they want to make it seem that they got it with their own looks and their own wit. Wait, would you agree to that? Because that's what I believe.
Yeah, that's probably the most common is that, if I have to pay for sex, then that must mean that nobody wants me or that I'm unattractive in some type of way. But and I can relate to that, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I had to let go of that, because I mean, it doesn't matter how good you look. There's gonna be some women that's not gonna be attracted to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's true.
so I just had to let that go, like, you know what I'm saying? And also, you know, it's not always about that because at the time I was working two jobs and I really didn't have time to get out there and meet someone and talk to them on the phone and had to worry about the responsibility of calling that woman, you know what I'm saying, every night and making sure that I, maintain this consistency with a woman, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like I don't want to just use a girl for just for sex. I don't want to just talk to a woman and lead her on when all I want to do is have sex with her. You know what I'm saying? I was working two jobs, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of days I would work both jobs on the same day and I'd be too tired to talk to anybody, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So it was really about at that time it was really more convenient and it made more sense to do that. And plus it was, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I had sex with a lot of women who would probably never talk to me in real life. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, maybe it's because, you know, some women don't find me physically attractive. That doesn't mean I'm not physically attractive though. I think I'm a handsome person, but I understand that I'm not going to be compatible to everybody, but that shouldn't mean that I should miss out on fulfilling certain sexual fantasies. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. Yeah, you're not like I had to learn that too. Like, I do a lot of interesting stuff, but not everybody's gonna find it interesting. Just
Yeah.
it's life. I had to learn that
Yeah.
the hard way. And as I get older, it's like I'm not trying to find somebody to have a wham bam thank you man with because that shit is easy. It's like
Yeah.
because a lot of people like what I want is hard to find. Like, I want a relationship, a serious one that will lead to marriage one day, whatever, and kids, whatever have you. So it's like, for me, like, would I pay for sex? No, only because I don't think it's worth it. I think my money would be well spent paying for something else. That's just me. But for people who are willing to pay for it, they shouldn't be shamed for it.
Right.
Like they shouldn't be shamed for wanting to get their rocks off. The only people I'll probably give shame to. Let me see. It's probably married people because you like, what are you doing? If that person ain't filling your needs, just leave them alone. What are you doing
Yeah.
with prostitutes for? You see, if you're single and if you're single and you don't really have anybody and you just want to fulfill your need, go ahead, do you, Brody. But if you're married, I'll shame you for that because you shouldn't. That's an insult to your wife. It's like
Right.
if you
Right.
pay to sleep with another woman, this is two things. It's either something's wrong with you, or maybe something wrong with her. I don't know. But you're right. A lot of these I call them fuckboys. They're the ones that will try to embellish themselves. They try to make it seem like there's something that they're really not. And then you got the females that will fall for that. And then next thing you know, they'll go through like 5 guys like that, and they'll realize, wow, dudes ain't shit. So the next person they meet might be a legitimate person, but they just sitting here thinking that, oh, this person's gonna fuck me over, so let me accuse them of doing everything in the book.
Yeah.
Uh, I've met a lot of females who do shit like that, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say next, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, that's taking needs to stop. I actually did a show on that, and you just gave me more perspective than I did originally doing that show. Because I was just thinking about it from a standpoint of, well, it's their body. They don't have to go. They don't have to go to Walmart all day to make money. They could just use they could just use their looks and their personality, because that's exactly how a lot of them be getting. In reality, that's how a lot of them be getting it anyway. The Instagram models, they get it
Yeah.
because they look a certain way, and you
Yeah.
got a lot of guys that's attracted to that. So when you have the privilege of being of looking a certain way, you're gonna get a lot of attention. A lot of these people aren't really talented like that. Well, some are, but not all of them. So they'll go on Instagram, they'll post a picture or a video doing something really simple, and you got the comment section jumping. So if I was them, making the OnlyFans would be a great business strategy. They could sell
Yeah.
merchandise off that. Like,
Yeah. And it's really, I don't know. I feel like there's a really benefit to the rest of us, because it's like that, like it's really the girl next door like now that's opening up an OnlyFans. Like there's at least like 3 coworkers that I worked with that have OnlyFans pages, and I've seen all of them naked. And these are women that like I I never really looked at them like that, because when I'm at work, I try not to feed into, being attracted to my female coworkers.
right?
Uh but outside of work, you know what I'm saying, it's extremely entertaining,
Yeah.
to see someone that you work with completely naked, and to see how like uh, beautiful or
Yeah.
fucking gorgeous, like
Hmm.
damn, you know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just picturing, like, what if like all of these girls, like every girl that you meet in the streets, you know what I'm saying, or people that you know in real life, like just picture all of the females that you may not look at like that, but you think are attractive, and you can go on the internet, look them up, and see what they look like naked. Like,
Right.
I mean, that shit is awesome. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie, man.
I understand. It's like it's a different. I guess it's a different fulfillment as opposed to going like on Pornhub and seeing somebody that that actually they're being paid big money to be there. Most of them.
Right,
Yeah. So
right.
it's different when there's just a person that's not really looking to do that. It's just a different element. I guess it's like a different vibe that it gives.
Yeah, it's different because it seems more authentic, and plus, I mean, when it's somebody that you actually know,
Hmm.
especially somebody maybe that you had a crush on,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, or somebody that you always thought was attractive, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying, that you see on a regular basis, but you never jumped out there, and now she's got a page on the internet where she's showing herself naked in every fucking position that you can imagine, type of shit, man.
I
I mean,
understand.
that shit is awesome.
Oh yeah, it is. It definitely is. But this is so I got two-part question actually. It's about it's about Trump, and it's about you said you hated black people at one point. Why did you hate them, and what was the kind of black people that you hated? Because growing up, I had the same experience with my peers, because a lot of people like to bring up, oh, the white man does this, the white man does that. But honestly, speaking for myself, a white person's never really done anything a black person's done to me, because white people don't live in my neighborhood. It's black people. They're the ones that's robbing me. They're the ones that robbed me when I was 14. The only thing they got off me was a Metro card. Like, they didn't get really anything off me, but like, How, like, what was your experience with them that made you resent them?
Um, well, I mean, it's not like, with something like that, if it's never one thing. It was really a sum of, a whole bunch of experiences.
Hmm.
Um, I think growing up in the suburbs in a suburban neighborhood, in a nice neighborhood, I've
Hmm.
always felt like an outsider because, if you're black and you didn't grow up in the hood, it's almost like, are you even black? You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't. It's like you feel like you're not authentically black. So I've always had to deal with that perception of being a black person who grew up in the suburbs and they think you're soft. You know what I'm saying? Then it's the thing of me being a rapper, an artist, in an area where, at first before Wale became famous and the DMV became, got a little bit of spotlight, you know, in this area there were no artists from the area that made it. So it was really like a lot of hate in the area for anybody that was trying to make it in the music industry. And
Wow.
it was a lot of I got a lot of hate. I got a lot of just a lot of like mean things, a lot of bullying, a lot of ridiculing, people wishing death on me and you know threatening my life. And I'm just trying to be a rapper. I'm just trying to be a producer. Like I'm just trying to use my gifts and my talents to change the world, you know what I'm saying? And just to see the reaction that black people had, uh I never forgot. It's something that you don't forget, and it really it really changed the way I saw black people,
Right.
and then when you kind of like when you look at when you can compare the way that black people look at certain issues to the way the rest of the world looks at certain issues, it really seems like we haven't evolved socially, on the same level as other races. And I really credit that to slavery and the fact that, for a long time we weren't allowed to read, you know what I'm saying? And the legacy of the miseducation of black people in this country, we're really behind in a lot of ways. And I'm not even saying that to like put us down. It's reality that like, in education wise, and just basically as a matter of human evolution, just like we're really behind a lot, and I realized that when I saw, the way other races supported me as an artist compared to way my own race, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, when I got in the restaurant industry, and black people, we have a reputation for being horrible customers,
Yeah.
horrible tippers,
Hmm.
and again, when I compared, because I first started in a restaurant where it was black people and white people,
Hmm.
and it was the contrast between the way that white people treated me and the way black people treated me was like night and day. And I'm gonna be honest, it really broke my heart because, everybody loves their race. Everybody loves their people, and you want to think of your people as the best people, the best human beings. But when I got there out there in reality, and I saw the way that black people were acting in public in restaurants, it was like it was disturbing, it was traumatizing, it was heartbreaking, and I've been through a lot of horrible experiences, I mean, 8 years as a server, like, and it's been a lot of horrible experiences from black people. And, you know, like I said, like I've seen people break down and cry at the job from the way customers treated them. And, but a lot of us, we don't cry, but it leaves a scar, on our mind. And all of the horrible experiences that I went through, I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody about it because it's like in the black community, if you have anything negative to say about black people, they're gonna automatically call you a coon,
Oh
they're gonna
God.
call you an Uncle Tom, they're gonna shame you just for speaking about too much of the negative things in black culture. They're going to make you seem like you're a traitor. So, but the thing is, a lot of mental illness develops because you don't have anybody to talk to. You know, when you repress your trauma, when you repress your anger, resentment, it it doesn't go away. It festers and it grows into an illness, into a sickness. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what happened. I hated black people because of the horrible abuse and the horrible traumatic experiences, the number of heartbreaks that I felt from black women. And really it was the combination of that and feeling like I had no one to talk to about it. And just keeping it all inside, it developed into a serious sickness.
I can relate to that too. Because especially like black women, I love black women. Those are the ones that I always go after. I feel like a lot of them don't respect me or don't look at me a certain ways because I don't do the ratchet shit that the other black men do. They're not really into people like us, people who don't sell drugs, people who don't go on the internet and talk shit, people who don't post like live videos of them, doing dumb shit out in the street. They like they like the ratchet shit. So I understand where you're coming from. It's like if like me listening to you, I'm like, people will probably say, "Oh, not all people are like that." No, I said all, but there's a lot.
Right,
So
yeah.
why do you think people don't want to like acknowledge that? Like why is that?
I think a lot of people are really focused on black people being the victims of white oppression, that you're so locked into it that it's kind of like you're so focused on looking at black people as victims who can do no wrong, that any any possibility of black people being as evil as white people is you get defensive about it, because you're so locked into that. You know what I mean? But it's unrealistic to have a vision, to have a view of any group of human beings like that, to think that any group of human beings can't do any wrong, or aren't capable of evil. I mean, it's part of being human is the ability to commit evil no matter who you are. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
this is the thing I've noticed, that a lot of black men have that complaint about black women. And you know basically we see black women as women who are only attracted to thugs. But then I had to really ask myself, like, is that really true? Because there are a lot of black women who aren't attracted to thugs.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
there are a lot of black women who are attracted to men like me, but I never paid attention to those women. You know, I didn't think that those women are attractive. And I spent a lot of time really being mad at a certain type of woman that I wanted to be attracted to me, who wasn't attracted to me. But at the same time, I was I had the same thing going on in me. It's certain types of black women who I didn't like, that I only liked the stripper type of girl, or the the promiscuous girl, you know what I'm saying? Or the models, you know what I'm saying? And is that really realistic for me to only want to be with a video model type of girl? You know what I'm saying? Only because that's what I see in rap videos. But is that even real? You know what I'm saying? I mean, black women are so much more diverse than just the strippers and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what about the other women that find me attractive that I haven't paid any attention to? You know what I'm saying? I had to start looking at it different. That's when I started to really, you know, let go of the traumatic experiences and the abuse that I suffered. And I had, because at one point in time I was so focused at the horrible things that had been done to me by certain types of black people, that that type of black person was all that I saw, and I saw the whole race as a bunch of ratchet people,
Right.
But I had to open my eyes and see that black people are bigger than just ratchet ghetto people. That there are, you know, good natured people in the ghetto and out the ghetto, you
Mm.
know, uh, that look at the world the same as me, that want the same things out of life as me, that want to treat people the way they want to be treated, that are respectful, that want to live a good life, that want to raise their family. You know what I'm saying? That aren't like, the stereotypical black people that we see on TV and radio all the time, that they teach us that that's the only dimension that we can be as black people. You know what I'm saying? And I had to really learn to fall in love with my own people again. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. And honestly speaking, um, like a lot of your talking points reminds me of you ever heard of Tommy Sotomayor?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like he was the first person that made me look at the stuff that that stuff that goes on in our community, because I'm like, it's like, I see it, never really paid any mind to it from like with a microscope. I just see it and then let it pass. And then I started listening to his videos, and then I see the stuff that he says about black women and how it's linked to how they're linked to like single parent households and shit like that. So I'm like, wow. So to hear you say it, and and to hear you say it, be the person my friends listen to say it, is like it's refreshing, because I don't think that people are honest about the shit that we do. Even though we're like you said, I think you think we're above all this shit, and no, not think I know, that we're above all this shit. Question is, why don't they think the same thing? They think that it's like they equate us to being like rude and all this other stuff. Like we have to be aggressive all the time. Like I actually have to block somebody that I personally know. Back, let me see, 2 months ago. I asked her a question about something, and she got overly defensive. And I'm like, why are you getting defensive? I'm like, it didn't. It's like she took it to a place that it didn't have to. It had to be taken. So I blocked her, because I'm like, you know what? I don't have time to be arguing with anybody over some bullshit that I questioned you about, and you like my question. So what the hell are you talking about? I just blocked her. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like that's what I be doing with people these days. Is like, but I can understand where you come from with that, and I can relate to that, because I feel that it's like for people like us, we don't get respect from our fellow peoples, because they go by this stereotype. If we talk like this, if we don't use ebonics, we're white. I used to be,
Yeah.
oh man, people used to talk like, tell me, oh, you sound white. What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
You sound white.
Yeah. But
Mean somebody talking English? Okay. So you
yeah, but I noticed that that shit used to be really heavy uh in like the 90s or whatever, but I feel like that's starting to go away. Like I feel like we're starting to evolve out of that. And I really think that's the reason why we think that is because, once again, like for a long time we weren't even allowed to read
right.
legally. It was
Mhm.
it was against the law for black people to read. And I looked it up and this shit was a law for like 100 years.
Yikes.
So just imagine like how many generations, you know, lived and died in a reality where it's illegal for you to read because you're black. And the only people who know how to read are white, you know?
Yeah, that's bad. I understand what you're saying with that, because it does come from all that. Because it's taught us for generations that the only way we see the world is through one lens, and that's what they think that we should see the world. That's why a lot of us are out here saying that we oppressed. I don't think I'm oppressed. I know you don't think you're oppressed.
I don't know.
Um,
I do think that actually I think that everyone in our society, I think everyone in the world deals with some type of oppression,
Yeah, I agree with that.
actually. But I do think that,
But to the point that it
certain
stops you from doing stuff, that's what I'm asking.
uh in some ways it can. I think a lot of it is exaggerated, but I do think that there are certain social uh forms of social oppression
Mhm.
that everybody deals with, from all walks of life, just from preconceived notions that our society has about certain people. Um, I used to be skeptical about systematic racism, but I've kind of like, I don't know, there are certain things that certain forms of systematic racism that I will acknowledge is real, like racial profiling,
Yes.
you know, um, and even I watched an interview with Donald Trump, and even he acknowledged that there is a degree of systematic racism. I watched a interview with the Attorney General, and he acknowledged that there's some form of systematic racism out there. So these people are in charge of the country, and if they're acknowledging that it exists to a degree, I got to take their word for it, because that kind of goes against what their party is saying. So if they're going to say, they got to know something that we don't.
Yeah, and you can actually see examples of that still happening. Like it's just not to the degree it shouldn't stop anybody, but like you said, it depends on like what they perceive you to be. So that's the part where it does play.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, oppression can be overcome. You can overcome oppression, and you shouldn't let it stop you. But at the same time, like it is dangerous to dismiss anybody's claims of being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people, we react like, like that because there are so many people out there that exaggerate, you know, their, oppression, or so many people that use oppression as an excuse to be, a destructive person. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's part of the reason why there's such a backlash against, black people who claim that they're oppressed, because there are a lot of people who abuse that and use that as an excuse to be a destructive person, or they just exaggerate it for sympathy, or, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's part of the game, though. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that oppression doesn't exist, though.
Oh, it sure does. That's why whenever somebody says that I'm oppressed, I'm like, oh, or they say oppressors, I'll say I'm not oppressed. I'll keyword not sentence. I am not oppressed. Maybe that person is. Who am I to
I don't
say
know.
he is or isn't?
I mean, I acknowledge that there is oppression in our society, but
Mhm.
I think I think the thing that a lot of black conservatives, when they say I'm not oppressed, I think that they're making a proclamation of victory over, whatever is out there. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say that you're oppressed, it's like you're sending a message to your brain that, that you can't do what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's almost like having a defeatist attitude. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I understand the reason why a lot of black Trump supporters are out there, making a statement that I'm not oppressed. I understand that, because it can just telling the world that you're oppressed can be almost like some defeatist shit. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a balance between,
Yeah.
you know, acknowledging that it exists in the world, but not letting it stop you.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll use examples of successful people like Tyler Perry became a billionaire because of what he was doing with his studio and ATL. Floyd Mayweather, 50 Cent. You see, with Floyd Mayweather, I don't really care much for him as a person, but I will acknowledge this. In a predominantly white ran organization like boxing, he he made it work for him and became successful. So all I guess I'm asking anybody who feels oppressed because it's a feeling we are because they got some if you go to the right company, they'll look at you. They won't tell you they're not gonna move you up because you're black, but you'll find out though. So they'll
Yeah.
use different not weapons, but different ways of oppressing people, certain amount of people. So yeah, from that standpoint, it does exist, but there's ways to work around it, like you just said. So it does have to be a balance. So when somebody says that, I bring up successful black people that has persevered from oppression. So if they can do it, then you can do it. Like that's what I say.
Yeah, I hear that. And that's an argument that I actually used to use myself. But I'm starting to like change my position on that
Mhm.
as far as, using celebrities as an example of, you know, successful black people and
Yeah,
because I mean, somebody like Tyler Perry is one in a million, you know what I'm saying?
that's
Like,
true.
it's like it's I don't think it's realistic to say, to a black person, look at Tyler Perry, how come you're not successful like him? You know what I'm saying? When I mean the odds, are not in any of our favor. Like I said,
Yeah,
that's like one in a million. And plus, I mean if I'm really honest, like the black community is filled with people trying to be the next Tyler Perry or the
yes.
next, the next Jay-Z or the next Beyonce. The black community is so it's not like we're lazy. It's not like we don't want to be successful.
Come on,
You know what I mean?
I got you on my show, and you work your ass off. And I know a lot of,
Right.
and I know I have a lot of people who like who does different. They cover like some of these people that's commented. They do a lot of different things. They're artists. So yeah, you're right. We do have a lot of people that wants to make it. That's I guess that's a motivational tactic for me. That's why I brought up people like them. But I do try to bring up people I personally know because they can relate. Because people can relate to that. Somebody that came from where you were, that came through the mud to be successful. But you're right; it is a one in a million shot because there's a lot of people out there that wants to do the same thing that you're doing. So you have to
Yeah.
come and shit like that. So yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying when in regards to that. Maybe I should do a better job of explaining it that way or using that as a talking point because you're right. Celebrities aren't the best examples of that because you have to make those connections somehow. You might never get you have to meet the right person that's willing to bring you on, that's willing to believe in you and trust you.
Yeah.
So
And a lot of it is kind of like there's like a luck factor to it too, you know what I'm saying?
of course, a lot of people don't want to admit that, but there is luck,
Yeah.
especially when you're in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that's out here that they they have different things they pay attention to. So somebody might get discovered on YouTube like Justin Bieber. Somebody might get discovered by if if their videos get put in the right place by one of their supporters. Hell, somebody might see this video, listen to what you're saying, and you might get heat off for what you just said during this broadcast. Who knows? So it is a one in a million shot. So I definitely agree to that. Oh yeah, I was gonna. Oh, this is what I was gonna ask you about earlier. Candace Owens. She was somebody that that was once a Democrat. Now she's a Republican. But I feel like a lot of these people, I feel like they accuse. Okay, they're right. They're right wing. I guess commentators that want to go talk all this stuff about how people want to be far left. Like, what do you think of her? Do you think she's far right? Do you think that she's in the middle? Because I think like honestly speaking, I think she's like way far right.
Yeah, I think she's definitely far right. And when I was a Trump supporter, I used to love her, at one point. Until I kind of like changed my mind about a lot of things. Um, Now I kind of see her as someone that's been damaged by the black community. bullied, a lot by the black community, and someone that has a vendetta against the black community, kind of like I was at one point. So like, I really sometimes I feel sorry for her. Sometimes I'm annoyed by her, and sometimes I'm really mad at the way that white Trump supporters exploit her when she's, basically attacking black people, because they did the same thing to me, when I was going through my issues and airing out the dirty laundry of the black community, and I had a whole bunch of white Trump supporters on my friends list, and they would retweet all the nasty things that I would say about black people, and they'd share it on their page, and use me as a platform for them to talk shit about my people. You know what I'm saying? When I look back on that, I realized that I was being used by a lot of people in that party, and that's a sad reality of the MAGA cult. Is it's really easy for black Trump supporters to become internet celebrities and go viral on social media, because all you have to do is say, I'm a black person who supports Trump, or all you have to do is talk shit about Black Lives Matter, and every white Trump supporter out there will make you famous so that they can use you as a weapon against the rest of us. And that's the tragedy of Candace Owens, because she actually has a lot of things to say. She's an intelligent person, but because of the people behind her, a lot of black people will never pay her any mind, because she's being used by that political party as a weapon against us. And that's the tragedy. And I also think the fact that I really feel like she's been bullied, and I really feel like she probably feels rejected by the black community before she even got famous, and and that's part of the reason why she seems to have such a vendetta against black people. And I think that's sad too, because if it wasn't for that, like, she has such a bright mind. Like, there's so many things that she could be doing to actually help us. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, you know, throwing so much venom at her own people.
Yeah, I really agree. Like, she does do that. It's like, after listening to her, I like her talking points, but I also do agree that she could be. There's some stuff that she does say that I'm like, why would you say this? Like, why the hell would you say this? It's like it seemed like some of the stuff that she says is being forced.
You think
And
so?
it's still, yeah, some of it. It's not. Like, I can't prove this. I guess it's the tone that she uses. I feel like it's forced. Like,
I
okay, I
don't
have
know.
to say this to get like to because now, like, we are like we've been accused of being overly emotional when it comes to certain things. So, especially stuff that the right wing people say. So I feel like she takes advantage of that. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. Like, she be saying, like, there's times I do agree with her. There's times I'm like, why did you say this stupid shit? Like,
I mean, well, she does have an audience, so
yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
in order to keep it up, she's got to, say what they want to hear.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Because if she was to ever like disagree with something that Trump said, because I've seen it, like I see a lot of black Trump, not just black, but Trump supporters in general. I've seen it over and over again. The minute that a Trump supporter publicly disagrees with something that Trump says, it's immediate backlash. You know what I'm saying? And it gets ugly, and it's like they start putting you in a whole different category. They start immediately disowning you, unfriending you, blocking you, calling you a closet liberal, a closet Democrat, and all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you want to basically keep your, if you're a Trump supporter, a famous Trump supporter, and you want to keep your audience, you got to keep saying what they want to hear, or else they will like be vicious towards you, man.
Set you on fire. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I don't get it. I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen with this show, but I just like I'm not really into politics like that because I think it's boring. What I do, what's entertaining about it is I guess the supporters of each one of these parties, and I'm reading stuff from both the left and the right, and I'm like, do y'all even listen to each other? Because I asked one of my best friends who's a who's into politics. He's in the middle, basically, just like you are. And I asked him like do you why don't they listen to why don't y'all listen to each other? And he's like, you got people who just want to believe what they want to believe, like like the news media. You got Fox News that's right wing. You got CNBC, NBC that's left. Probably there's some other networks out here that's like left, right. I really don't pay attention to it like that. But you got them all out there, and it seems even when I go on social media, somebody will have a take, and somebody either from the right or the left, if it opposes their party, they'll accuse them of being a liberal or accuse them being like far right. It's stupid. Like what is that? What is I forgot what they was talking about. I think they were talking about taxes or something like that. They want to accuse him being a liberal. How do you know if he's a liberal? Maybe he just doesn't like the stuff. Oh my God. What do you think about that part of it? Like it's stupid.
I mean, I think it's really just a defense mechanism, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like if they're not a Democrat, if they're not a closet liberal, then it's the possibility that this person who's criticizing Trump, who used to be a Trump supporter, might actually have something valid to say, you know what I'm saying? And somebody who looks at Trump as someone who is always right and does no wrong, like the number one thing that they're afraid of is that they're wrong about him, you know what I'm saying? Because especially the ones who support him no matter what they do, or no matter what Trump says, no matter what Trump does, they're always defending him. Like they didn't get that way overnight, you know what I'm saying? It's like they became that way gradually with every crazy thing that he does. It's like when you publicly say that you support somebody, and then that person does something embarrassing, or does something that is controversial, or does something that they're being publicly attacked for, you're naturally going to feel the need to defend them publicly, you know what I'm saying? And it's like a chain reaction. Once you defend him on one thing, the next thing that he does, you're going to have to defend him on that. And then it's like, then it becomes you're defending him no matter what he does, no matter what he says. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of Trump supporters that are like past the point of no return, like beyond any logic or any reason. You know what I'm saying? So even if their best friend who was a Trump supporter today changes their mind next week and has a valid reason for not supporting Trump anymore, the fact that this other Trump supporter has invested so much time, even years, into defending Trump, there's no way that they're going to listen to you. So that defense mechanism comes in, and they have to attack you. They have to put some type of label on you. They have to come to some type of personal attack about you, so they can resolve that in their mind, the possibility that they might be right about Trump. They have to settle that in their mind some way. So that's why they attack, Trump supporters who turn against Trump. That's why they attack him. That's why they call him a closet liberal, because they're trying to figure out a reason why this person turned against Trump. Oh, he was never a Trump supporter to begin with. Oh, he's really a Democrat. Oh, he's really a liberal. Or he's brainwashed, or he's been taken advantage of by the left, or he's been watching too much CNN. They got to come up with some type of way to resolve that in their head. You know what I'm saying? It's like a defense mechanism, man.
It is. Yeah, it's like I forgot exactly what it was. It wasn't. Well, it was about one was about taxes, one was about something else, and I'm like, I'm looking at this comment. I'm like, what the hell we got to do with? We could be talking about um, we could be talking about food. Somebody will say some dumb shit like that. I'm like, the hell are you talking about? Before I ask you about why you stopped being a Trump supporter, I was like, people think that I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not. I don't support any of these. I support. I'm not affiliated to any party. I'm an independent voter, just like you are. So if I feel like this person's worth voting for, no matter which side of the fence they're on, I'll vote for them. That's
Yeah,
just how I am. I got
yeah,
accused of being a Trump supporters because let me see. I guess Goya endorsed Trump, and I just didn't give a damn about it. People was just talking about boycott Goya. Why? Oh, boycott Goya because they spent their money on who they want to win the election. Either way, you still gotta go out and vote. So I was like, who gives a damn? People telling me, oh, actually it does. No, who they like? Okay, when you buy a rap album, do you worry about what they do with the money? No, I don't care. Their money can go between blow, hose, and studio time or car. You know?
right.
So why should you care about what Goya spends their money on? I mean, I get that he says some stuff that you probably didn't like, or he probably says some stuff about the Hispanic community. Maybe that's it. But why would I boycott it and put other people that works there at these factories? Why would I put their lives in jeopardy? Maybe they need that job to support their families. This is dumb.
Yeah,
Like, why did you stop being a supporter of him? I know he be doing a lot of questionable stuff. And like I said, I like it because he's authentic, but I feel like sometimes too much. He has a big ego, like a lot of rich white boys.
yeah,
Rich people in general have big egos. Egos.
yeah. I think at some point I kind of like I don't know. At some point I've learned to admit when I'm wrong about things.
Mhm.
So um, after all that time that I spent supporting Trump, I got to a point where I just basically had to check myself and make sure that that I was not in denial about any flaws that he had. And one day I kind of like challenged myself, because this is the thing. Trump supporters, we spend so much time claiming that we're free thinkers. You know what I mean? And after all of that, claiming to be free thinkers, I had to really ask myself, am I really a free thinker? Like, and I had to really, remind myself of what a free thinker is. It's not having a cult mentality. It's not being, biased against someone that you support. That's not a free thinker. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I really had to kind of like check myself and remind myself of what a free thinker is supposed to be.
Mhm.
And I had to stop ignoring the red flags about Trump, you know what I'm saying? And eventually it just became a chain reaction. It was like the first thing that I had to acknowledge was when he was impeached, you know what I'm saying? And when I read about all of the stuff that he was doing behind closed doors to like stop the money from coming over there. It's not the phone call itself that was incriminating, but it was after the phone call and all of the length that he went to stop the money from getting over there. And it was like a deliberate, you know, a deliberate operation to stop the money from getting over there after he asked them to investigate Joe Biden. And it was like, it wasn't necessarily a smoking gun, but it was enough to make me question, like, what if this dude is actually as dirty as he says he was, would I be able to admit it? And I really had to challenge myself to stop ignoring the red flags. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when the coronavirus thing came, and just watching how sloppy he was and unprofessional and how he handled that. And I had to really, not allow myself to deny the shit that I was seeing, you know what I'm saying? And then actually, when I really started to question him, it took a while for me to say it on Facebook and say it on social media,
Okay.
because I knew there was going to be backlash. I knew there was going to be anger. I knew there was going to be outrage. And it was just like my the process of me becoming a Trump supporter, where like it took a while for me to get the courage to say I was a Trump supporter. It took a while for me to get the courage to say that I wasn't a Trump supporter. You know what I'm saying? Um, but eventually, after the first time that I publicly said that I disagreed with something that Trump said, and I saw the immediate backlash and people who immediately blocked me, people who followed me for years, gave you know gave me compliments every step of the way. People who even supported me when I was depressed and days when I was struggling, like as a person, and immediately blocked me the second that I started disagreeing with Trump. Once I saw that, it just made me, it just pushed me further away from the cult mentality, and it really gave me the courage to publicly disagree with him again, because I wasn't as connected. I didn't have such a bond to the Trump supporter movement. So the next time I publicly disagreed with him and I got more backlash, more anger, more attacks, more disrespect, more insults, it was like I eventually I started to really resent the Trump supporter movement. And then it was just chain reaction after chain reaction after chain reaction after chain reaction. And then it was like I just became a constant critic of the Trump supporter party and of Trump, because I just I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about what the Trump supporters thought about me. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
And you shouldn't.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm part of the reason why I criticize Trump so much is because of his supporters basically revealing to me their hypocrisy.
Yeah, a lot of them are hypocrites on both sides. I see. That's why I called, like, yeah, that's the reason why I brought you on here, because I do consider you a free thinker, because you was able to find some fallacies in what Trump was saying and what he was doing, and you were like, man, what the hell is this dude doing? So you disagree with it, went public with it. Then you got his fanboys, which is what they are, his fanboys. They want to start ridiculing you. So that means everything they did before that checked up on you when you was down, told you to keep on pushing with your stuff. That means they wasn't supporting you. They were supporting the fact that you like Trump. So
Yeah,
that makes them kind of really weird, like weirdos. Like the hell, like what the hell's wrong with y'all? That's why I will ask them. That's weird.
yeah,
That's like me being okay. I'm an Eminem fan, but I don't always agree with the stuff that he says. And I go inside of a group and disagree with something that he says in an interview or what he mentioned in the song. They're gonna throw me out the group because I'm not fanning out. That's what this. That's what this is.
yeah,
Bunch of cult followings on both sides. Well, a lot of these celebrities have cult followings. Like Cardi B has a cult following. You got her, no matter what she does wrong. Oh, don't say anything. Don't hate on her.
yeah,
I'll kick you out the group too. Like
yeah,
it's all crazy. This, but
yeah. That's
it's like at least you acknowledge some stuff that he did wrong. Also, you admitted some stuff like about you as far as like you being um too far like right as far as that. So I commend you for that because it's not an easy thing to admit when you're wrong. Like It's like some things about myself I have to come in terms with. And
Yeah.
it's not easy. It hasn't been easy, but I
Yeah.
accept it. Accept it when
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's not easy, man. But I mean, in the long run, like, I feel like you're gonna grow. That I feel like that's that's how you obtain wisdom
yeah.
is by being able to recognize when you've been wrong and when you've made a mistake about something.
Yeah.
Learning from your mistakes, man. That's what wisdom is all about. And I feel like that's the mark of an intelligent person also.
Hmm.
Someone who can see when they were being stupid. If you can see when you were being stupid in the past, then you're really not stupid.
Exactly. A lot of people don't want to admit their wrongdoings and their shortcomings, and no matter like us as human beings, there's a lot of people that don't like to admit when they're wrong. Maybe because they're trying to have this fight with themselves that, oh, I'm right. Maybe that's what it is. But
I don't
ultimately,
know. I feel like we all want to be like, the smartest person in the world.
yeah. And then I have to realize that I don't know everything. It's okay. Like, we talk about ignorance. It's okay to be ignorant. Ignorant is simply means you don't know. That's all.
Right,
A lot of
right,
people just equate, oh, being ignorant to being racist. I ain't nobody. That doesn't mean you're racist. It means you don't know. That's exactly what ignorance is. Like I had a lot of like no, when I was younger, I was ignorant to a lot of stuff. Then I started to grow, started to talk to like other people who believe different things from me, and they made me see some stuff. Like, like you came on here, you told me, you gave me your perspective on a lot of stuff that I didn't even think about. Now I'm going to think more about it after this show. Like earlier, you mentioned no, these like mass shooters. I didn't know that a majority of them or all of them were virgins. So maybe there's something to that. I believe that the people who are saying that, I mean, I believe most of them are being dicks when they say it, but I have to look past that. You brought up some stats that back up what they basically claimed. So I'm like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah. But I still don't like the way guys get shamed for not, getting enough pussy.
Yeah. I don't like it neither. It's like I honestly the guys that shame other dudes for that, I call them simps. Those are the biggest simps. Because think about it. They're putting you down. They putting the next man down so they can get in somebody else's pants. So they want to show people that they can get all the girls. So if you're not, they're gonna put you down even further, so they can feel bad about themselves. So they won't look at them because a lot of females like confident type of guys, conceited guys, whatever phrase you want to put on them. They like those type of guys. So if you can eliminate the competition, it's there. It's there for you to take. So I believe there's something to why most guys will get shamed by that. Hell, there's girls that do it to guys. They'll shame them for not getting enough. Okay, then why didn't you give them any hooch?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it's weird and it's worse. Like,
It is weird because it's like, how you going to be a woman, you know, putting a male down for not being a whore? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, so what are you saying? Like, what does that say about you? Like, do you expect men to just basically like fuck around, fuck as many women as they can, or else they're not a man? Like,
I
how the fuck can a woman, you know, push that on another man? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it,
that shit is weird.
it's odd because I remember I was walking. See where I was walking. I was walking somewhere around here, and I guess a guy walked past that group of females. Guys was across the street too with them. I heard one of them say, "Oh, that dude like he don't get no pussy." Okay. Why didn't you go up there and give him some pussy then? Why you don't get him cooch? You're not gonna if
Right.
you're gonna give him cooch, shut up. Just shut up. Just shut your face. Like it's stupid for you to even say something about it if you're not gonna help that man out. It's just like me trying to ridicule a hobo or somebody who's homeless. Because I don't like to call them that because not everybody who is homeless is a bum. But it's like you going to a homeless person and then getting on them for not having any place to live. Okay, are you gonna help them get a place to live? No.
Yeah.
All right, shut
True.
your face. Shut your face. If you're not gonna help.
Yeah. I mean, that shit is cruel. Like, you know.
Stupid as fuck. Before we wrap up, do you have any upcoming shows that you're doing in the next few weeks?
Nah, not any upcoming shows, but I'll be at a couple open mics, but they're not, my shows or anything.
It's something though. It's something that you're gonna be at, so I'm just giving you a chance to promote that right quick.
Yeah. Well, there is going to be a Halloween event in Maryland, in Waldorf, Maryland, next Saturday, and it's being done by the DMV Renaissance Awards. You can go on IG and basically look up DMV Renaissance Awards if you're looking for a place to go on Halloween. It's going to be a lot of dope artists, poets, and I'm going to be there. I got something special planned. So, yeah.
Awesome. I've been to Waldorf, Maryland once before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, went to an indie wrestling show back there. Back in like 2015.
Are you in Maryland?
No, I live in Bronx. I'm in Bronx, New York.
Oh, okay.
I know
Okay.
some I know a few people that live in I know one of my boy Rich lives in Southern Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I know some I've been to Hollywood, Maryland. I've been to a lot of places in Maryland. So that's how I
Yo,
know.
how's the Bronx? Because I always thought that was like the most dangerous borough.
Um it's not like it used to be back when I was growing up in the 90s, sure. It was. Now it's not so much. Brooklyn, however, is getting back up there to like it was in the 90s. A lot of
Really?
students and all this other crazy shit.
Uh,
Yeah, for sport, like now the Bronx is not that bad as the news puts it out there to be. It really depends on where you go. Like if you're in the wrong neighborhood, it's typically the heart of the South Bronx. I live in the South Bronx, but not all the way down towards like well, if anybody's listening who's from the Bronx is Patterson houses, Mont Haven section. It usually happens at night, so that's why I really don't be outside at night like that. Like I'll be in the house just chilling. I'll be
mm.
outside the window, just thinking about the next thing that I'm about to do and stuff. Well, one more thing before we go. Your poetry, like how did you come up with your ideas of poetry? Do you just like sit down and just think about everything that be going on, or is like what's the creative process for them?
Basically, like first I basically decide what I'm going to talk about. You know, it's a lot of planning, it's a lot of strategizing, it's a lot of plotting. Basically trying to first I had to decide what type of artist that I want to be. What subjects am I going to rap about? What's my purpose in even doing this? Am I doing this just to be, try to be a famous rapper so I can get a whole bunch of bitches and
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, and get popularity? Or am I writing music that's actually going to make people think? Am I going to write music that's going to, encourage people? And basically I decided that my mission, if you want to call it that, is to write about, the perspective of someone who feels rejected by society or someone who feels hated,
Mm-hmm.
by the world. And once I decided that that's what I'm going to do, then it just becomes a matter of documenting my own experiences and basically I use songs as a journal, sort of. So once I understand that as a writer, you know, the most effective stories that you can tell are the ones that you've gone through because they're the most authentic. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't know, have you ever heard any of my songs?
I heard like one or two in passing, but I want to check
Uh,
out more of your stuff though. I heard some. I heard a few, and
all
I
right.
also heard you speak at your open mic one time. So that's why I wanted to bring you on because I wanted you to highlight that too.
All right. So what do you remember what I was talking about?
I honestly no, not at this time because only because you put me on the spot. That's all.
All
Oh,
right. Well, because I was just trying to use it as an example.
obviously,
But like for instance, I got a song called "What's Your Definition of a Friend." Um,
you know what
it's
I
like,
did hear that song before because I remember you did speak on that. You spoke on that one of your Facebook posts, and then I heard the song that you posted about that.
okay.
Hmm.
So basically, the way I came up with that is, you know, there was this fellow poet from the
Hmm.
area that I was real tight with. I known him for years,
Hmm.
but then when I became a Trump supporter, he unfriended me on Facebook, and it fucked my head up. I mean, it kind of like bruised my soul. You know what I'm saying? And I decided that I was going to take all of my feelings and write a song about it. You know,
Yeah.
because you know not only does it help other people, but it's like therapy for me to write about my feelings, you know. I mean, it's therapy for anybody to just to journal. Like that's one of the things that they recommend for you to get over, you know, traumatic experiences. It's a journal about your feelings. So I took all of my feelings that's about it, you know, about the situation, and plus all of the friends that I lost over the years because of my, you know, opinions. And I just basically put it into a song to paint a picture of what I felt about all of the friends who no longer wanted to be my friend because of disagreements over politics or social issues. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's basically how a lot of my songs get written is just basically it's either experiences that I've lived through or it can be a message that I feel will improve the world or change the world or make the world better. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. And do you have a YouTube channel that people can subscribe to? You plug it in.
Uh yeah, I don't know if it's actual it's if it's an actual address, but I know my YouTube name is Lee Love.
Okay, that's simple. Lee Love
Yeah, yeah.
you because because like anybody who's listens can go subscribe to him. Do it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow where you're gonna forget. Do it right now.
Yeah, I got a bunch of videos, bunch of performances on there. I got a bunch of videos, some good nights too.
Got you. In fact, hold on. Pull up something right quick. What is it? Lee Love Music?
Nah, just Lee Love.
Lee Love. For some reason that pops up. I don't know why. But yeah, I was going to try to play one of your videos on here for my audience, but don't have the like for some reason don't want to pop up. But I think the link is probably in your bio. Is your link in the bio on Instagram? That your YouTube?
Nah, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you type in, I don't know,
Let me put my mic down.
type in what's your definition of a friend?
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, I found your channel. I'm about to subscribe right now.
Let me ask, friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? Tell me, do you even have real friends? Do they like you? Do they love you? Do you need a friend too? Validate you, they like what they see, because they agree. Would they be an enemy when you disagree, friends? Tell me what's your definition of a friend? My definition of a friend's fuck a friend. Oh, what you receive that makes you want to be friendly out in the streets where they should ever see. We act crazy. Would you act differently? Would you turn your back and not speak? Are we G's, creating memories? Only because we agree, share the same beliefs and dreams, so you feel you got a lot to kill. But are you really real? If I was different, could you still kill? Was I did not decide how I went inside. I'm a gift and a curse, or part of my design. Not the type of friend that's a friend to be kind. But if you ain't the type that can run, never mind. I'm just requesting to ask questions. As a friend, a partner, or a yes man. I lost so many friends, I'm a lost soul. What is a friend? I don't even know. Friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? Tell me, do you even have real friends? Do they like you? Do they love you? Do you need a friend too? Validate you? They like what they see because they agree. Would they be an enemy when you disagree? Friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? My definition of a friend is fuck a friend. If I disagree, we should pick a politician or change my religion. Would you still listen to my thoughts, and would you make a quick decision to act like it never was in your vision? Can atheists be friends with Christians? Do girls lose friends when they start stripping? Should you lose it all for the way you live in? Homie, you can lose your life over your opinion. It's a cold world, such a vicious world when you see just how fast people turn. It can have you broken hearted, nowhere else to turn, so you might turn to drugs. Literally, it burns the soul. Sometimes I wish that I could shoot y'all, so you can feel the pain that I recall. I lost so many friends, I'm a lost soul. What is a friend? I don't even know. Friends, tell me what's the definition of a friend? Anybody here got real friends? Do they like you? Do they love you? Do you need a friend too? Validate you? They like what they see because they agree. But would they be an enemy if you disagree? Friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? My definition of a friend, fuck friends. Friends, tell me, do you have any friends? Fuck no, I ain't got no motherfucking friends. I'm living in a world where I can't be me, I lose everyone around me. Tell me how I feel about fake friends. Cause I lose them to no end. Not for real. What is a friend? Are they for real? Or pretend? Friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? Anybody here got real friends? Do they like you? Do they love you? You don't need a friend too. Validate you. They like what they see because they agree. But they be an enemy if you disagree. Friends, tell me what's your definition of a friend? My definition of a friend's fuck friends. Yeah, friends. Tell me what's your definition of a friend? Tell me, do you even have real friends? Do they love you? Do they love you? Do you need a friend too? Validate you? Do they like what they see? Cause they are free. If you dance, yeah, the only friend I need. In this world, yes, me. Yeah, the only friend I need. In the world, is me. This is for the outsiders, cause don't nobody understand us. Shout out to the outsiders, cause don't nobody really like us. I am an outsider, ain't nobody in this world died. We are the outsiders. Who gives a fuck if they understand us?
Hey, hey.
Yeah, that was a good night.
That song is lit. I actually like. It's true though, because it's like when somebody unfriends you or they want to try to go at your head because you have a disagreement about politics or whatever, it makes you question that. It's like, do I really have friends, or do I just have yes men, or am I a yes man to them because they just keep me around because I agree with what their worldview is?
Yeah.
It makes you question that. So oh my God, that song is awesome. Like, I mean, you've done a lot of awesome things with like through the years I've been friends on you on Facebook. I don't even know exactly how we connected. I don't know if you added me or I added you, but I'm glad I'm glad to have you on my friends list because it's refreshing because it's like a lot of people want to paint themselves out to be squeaky clean people. I notice, and I never seen you do that, and I commend you for that. Like honestly,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. Well, I think I probably sent a friend request to you because
Pro-
yeah, because I sent a lot of random friend requests out. Like basically, at one point I was just sending friend requests to any Trump supporter I can find. I think I probably assumed that you was a Trump supporter because you said something.
there you go. Because I was like, honestly, I actually wanted to know that. Like, I was like, wait, what? Like, because I know a lot of people that I don't know personally that sends me requests. So I don't know what it's for. Maybe I said something about something. Wait, do you remember what I said, or you just like? Do you remember exactly what I said?
Nah, I don't remember because
Oh,
like
okay.
I sent I at that time, man, I sent probably 1,000 friend requests
Got
out, man.
you. Yeah. The thing is, the way I speak may people may think that I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not. It's just I just believe in the truth. Or if I like, if I feel like one side is being disingenuous, I'm gonna call it out. So that's just me. I even had police officers come at me because I disagree with some of their methods. Uh,
Really?
yeah, yeah. Like I have people from like both sides come at me for some bullshit because I'm not gonna go where you want to go. I'm gonna be in the middle. If
Yeah.
I see that one side's fucking up, I'm gonna tell you fucked up. If you're liberal or Democrat, I'm gonna tell you fucked up too. If you're right and you're a Trump supporter or whatever, I'm gonna tell you fucked up there too. Like that's just me. I'm in the middle. I'm not. I try not to like. I try to be independent as possible and actually be a free thinker, like the definition of it's supposed to be. You think freely without nobody telling you to think for them. Like it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense at all. But I really appreciate have you coming on the show. It's been awesome.
Yeah, likewise, man. I had a good time too, man. It was nice chopping it up, you know.
Oh yes, of course. Like I hope to have you back soon. Like maybe to co-host a show with me about different types of like stuff. Because you like, you're awesome. I like what you like. I like how you carry yourself. Like you don't let like I know it's hard to be introverted and all that other stuff. Because I'm an introvert too. I know how it is to be an outcast. I still consider myself an outcast, and I actually like your Instagram name. It's okay to be misunderstood. In fact, you could follow him. That's on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can follow him on Instagram at it's okay to be misunderstood with dots in between it. And follow him on Twitter as well. I actually followed you on Twitter earlier because you be posting screenshots of your tweets and them just is inciting too. So I got you on there. That's
True.
at Lee Davinci. So again, I appreciate you having coming on the show, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it too. Thanks for inviting me, man.
Oh, of course. And y'all have yourselves a good night. It's the William
All
Green
right.
Experience right here on YouTube.